Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the January 7th, 2018 edition of The Breast There Is, The Breast There Was, and The Breast There Ever Will Be Wrestling Podcast. As always, I am your host, Mikey B, WWE. And now, kicking off the new year with a very promising, eventful month of January here. We would expect that things would kick off with quite a bang leading into not only the first Royal Rumble event at the end of the month, which will feature two Royal Rumble matches, one for the men's and for the first time ever, one for the women. In addition to this momentous event, we also have the 25th anniversary of Monday Night Raw coming up the week just before that. So lots happening this month, so you would expect so much going on at the top of the year here, but sadly on Monday Night Raw and on New Year's Day, there wasn't a whole lot of action, which really furthered the storyline. So, as always, I am just going to cover the important events and not just go through and discuss every single moment and match that happens, because there is obviously a lot of filler material and boring moments which aren't even worth discussing or mentioning. So on Monday Night Raw on January 1st, starting with our women's division, one thing I've noticed, I'm not even sure when this exactly took place, but that the wrestler Dana Brooke is now a part of the Titus Worldwide brand, which means she's aligned herself with Titus O'Neil and Apollo Crews. So that's a very minor storyline development, but at least doing something for Dana Brooke to get her more involved in some storylines. In addition to this, and other women on the Raw roster, other women's news, there was a moment backstage when Alexa Bliss was seeking Nia Jax to get her help prior to Bliss's matchup later that evening against Asuka. And Nia Jax told her she couldn't be by her side because she was going to the hospital to visit Enzo Amore, who they've been hinting certainly the last few weeks on Monday Night Raw that there was some sort of romantic interest going on between Enzo and Nia. So this certainly seemed to confirm that this is ongoing. So there was something else, a storyline developing between those two. Not really sure what's going to come of this, but anyways, that's something to report. And now, the biggest match on the program of Monday Night Raw was between Raw Women's Champion Alexa Bliss, as she took on, for the very first time, Asuka in singles competition. But this was, even though they were already mentioning this, Kurt Angle, the general manager, was referring to this as a potential WrestleMania matchup. This was a non-title bout between these two. So, and it was a very good contest. Both competitors looked really good, and Asuka secured her victory and kept her undefeated streak going since her arrival on the main roster of the WWE. Another noteworthy moment on Monday Night Raw was there was an Intercontinental title match between champion Roman Reigns against Samoa Joe. But there was a special stipulation attached on this one, which is that if Roman Reigns was disqualified, that he would lose the belt just like that after following his disqualification from the week before against Samoa Joe as well. But since he wasn't disqualified and he was able to cleanly win the contest, Roman Reigns is still your Intercontinental Champion. And that really is about it for Monday Night Raw. Again, not a whole lot of development going on, just kind of treading water, certainly for the coming weeks heading into the blockbuster second half of the month. But moving over to Smackdown Live the following night on January 2nd, there was a lot more activity going on this program than there was on the Raw the night before. Early on in the show, there was a tag team title match between champions the Usos and taking on Sheldon Benjamin and Chad Gable, who had previously won a match against the Usos to secure this tag title match. And to some surprise, after Gable and Benjamin won the belts, there was some confusion. The referee didn't take account that which Uso brother was the legal man in the ring. And after Benjamin and Gable were walking up the ramp with the belts, it was then declared that the match needed to be restarted. And surely enough, once that happened, the Usos won the proper victory, or earned the proper victory, I should say. So they kept their titles, which I suspect they probably will do until WrestleMania. They've been quite dominant for some years now, especially this past year. So I would imagine those belts aren't going anywhere away from those guys until maybe WrestleMania. But we'll see what sort of program they continue having with this tag team division on Smackdown Live. And later on in the program, to continue the tournament going on for the United States Championship, there was the third opening round matchup between Aiden English and Xavier Woods from the New Day. So far last week, we already saw Bobby Roode and Jinder Mahal advance to the semifinal round for that. And on this contest, Xavier Woods was victorious over Aiden English and will compete against Jinder Mahal in their semifinal match either next week or the following week, I'm sure, on SmackDown Live. I can already say, even though there's one more opening round matchup, which will be between Mojo Rawley and Zack Ryder, former teammates for the Hype Bros. I can say safely right now that it's going to come down to Jinder Mahal and Bobby Roode in the finals, which we learned that the final match for this tournament will be at Royal Rumble. So I can safely say that those will be the two competitors in the final, and I'm giving Jinder Mahal already I'm picking him as the selection to be the next United States champion. He did, after carrying the belt for most of the year of 2017. It only makes sense, I think, to keep Jinder Mahal in keep him relevant with a championship, even if it's a secondary belt. He's shown that he can be a very capable heel character with his Singh brothers by his side. So, anyways, I will certainly update these thoughts as the month moves along here, and that actually is confirmed that it will be Jinder Mahal and Bobby Roode in the final. But all signs are pointing to this being the final match we see at Royal Rumble. I mean, of the competitors, I think they're gonna certainly do something now with Mojo Rawley, since they had him split from Zack Ryder. But I don't see him as getting a championship this early on. And Bobby Roode is the more likely person to upset Jinder Mahal, but I still think Jinder will look the toughest out of all this, and he'll come away with the belt when it's all said and done. Okay, so after those two matches, we also had in the main event match to follow a similar matchup from last week's main event on SmackDown Live, which was AJ Styles against Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens secured the victory that night, and this week his partner in crime, Sami Zayn, now is scheduled to take on AJ Styles. To make matters more interesting in this main event, Daniel Bryan, Shane McMahon, and Kevin Owens were all set to appear at ringside just to try and even the playing field so no one was interfering and there was no favoritism being shown. During the course of the match, of course, Kevin Owens was doing what he could to try and cause distraction and help his friend Sami Zayn be victorious. And at which point, Shane McMahon then ordered the referee to tell Kevin Owens that he was banned from ringside during the match. And shortly after that announcement was made, Daniel Bryan then grabbed a microphone and basically said, "Shane, if you're kicking Kevin Owens from ringside, then you may as well join him." Certainly to keep going with their feud, their storyline, which I think it's anybody's guess right now how this will culminate, but there's clearly something going on with the Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Shane McMahon, and Daniel Bryan saga here. I think it will culminate at WrestleMania I think it's very likely that we'll see Shane McMahon compete in a match at WrestleMania again. I think it's unlikely that Daniel Bryan will return to the ring, since he's more or less retired for good after all of his injury, his health concerns. So I don't know. this remains to be seen what they're going to do with this ongoing drama between Shane McMahon and his general manager Daniel Bryan. But hopefully it's something better than Shane taking on Kevin Owens or taking on Sami Zayn at WrestleMania. So I'm hoping something exciting happens with this. But following this contest, which Sami Zayn was able to defeat AJ Styles again by all these distractions going on ringside, AJ Styles grabbed the microphone following the contest and said, "You know what? Why don't you just give both of these guys to me, so we don't have to worry about favoritism and all this other stuff?" So he said, "I'll just take them on 2-on-1 in a handicap match." And then as soon as he finished saying that, Daniel Bryan said, "Well, there you go. For a Royal Rumble, this is what the WWE Championship match will be. A 2-on-1, 2 versus 1 handicap match for the WWE Championship," which is kind of, unsure what's going to happen with that. Because, I mean, if Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn win, that means there'll be the two of them sharing one WWE Championship, which is not something that that seems to make any sense and that they will continue to do. But it would certainly heighten their heel status on the program. So, I don't know. It's certainly an interesting twist on this particular feud, this particular program they're all telling. But, there's still a lot of dissension going on among the ranks there on SmackDown Live. So that pretty much covers all the important stuff going on. Like I said, be sure to get geared up for the second half of this month when more things are going to heat up towards Royal Rumble. And, of course, the 25th anniversary of Raw should certainly give us some memorable moments and hopefully some teasers heading into WrestleMania season. So, yeah, after a little bit of a boring, slogging opening week of the year, like I said, you can wager that it's going to get a lot more exciting in these coming weeks. So, yeah, stay tuned for that. So that's about it for me. If you have any questions or comments, certainly feel free to write below. And don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel below. Thanks very much for listening, and see you next time.